Welcome to Proclaim, a presentation of the Catholic Diocese of Alexandria. Join us as we journey together through the Scriptures revealed to us by God.
Good morning and welcome to Proclaim. As we at least attempt to understand how Matthew may have chosen to arrange the material, it might be helpful to, again, look at the Gospels as they seem to have been historically developed, with Mark being the first, Matthew and Luke somewhere in the mid-80s, and John somewhat later, most would say probably in the 90s. As we then look at where each Gospel begins, it's also interesting that the Gospel of Mark begins with the public ministry of Jesus. He has nothing in the way of infancy narratives. Matthew and Luke both have infancy narratives, but they're very different from one another, and they follow a pattern which is not untypical of the scriptural birth narratives of other famous people, such as Moses, even Abraham, David. There were certain things that oftentimes were looking back at a famous person and then trying to, in some way, piece that into the origins. John actually goes back farther. He begins in his prologue with before creation, to the very beginning of the work of redemption. And some have suggested that as time passed, the questions that were not present in the beginning, when Mark was writing, it was primarily about the public ministry, the life, death, and resurrection. That was the focus. When we see summaries in the book of Acts, particularly by Peter, that's pretty much what's there. There's very little mentioned before that.
This program was brought to you by Kramer Funeral Home,